Hello and welcome to Fort Mill Business Today, sponsored by the Fort Mill Economic Council. I'm your host, Patty Mercer, here with our special guest, Jesse Soares. He is the fire marshal for the town of Fort Mill. So glad to have you with us. Tell us a little bit about you.
A little bit about me. I've worked with the town of Fort Mill as a fire marshal for just over a year. I come from a little further up north, Mecklenburg County.
Okay, we're familiar.
Yeah. I've been in the fire prevention service for about 10 years, and I'm glad to be here.
Well, we are so glad to have you here, of course, with the growth in Fort Mill. When it comes to this fire station, we have lots of responsibilities, our firefighters, our staff. You, in fact, work where? Here or a different location?
My office will be at the new fire station that will be on Fort Mill Parkway, hopefully in 2 years.
In 2 years. So we're talking, this is the existing fire station. It'll stay here.
Yes.
But with the growth of Fort Mill, obviously we have such a need for a new fire station. In the meantime, where are you working?
We have a temporary fire station on Dobie Bridge Road, and people think that a fire truck's parked at a house. It's not. That's a temporary fire station.
I'm one of those people. I was thinking the same thing. Okay, so that's the temporary fire station. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, we're seeing a lot of growth. And just recently, talking attendance lines for the new Catawba Ridge High School. So the new fire station in Fort Mill, that will primarily service all of the homes that exist there and are planned for development there.
Yeah, the growth is exploding over there. In order for us to provide the services to everybody and the time period that we have to do, we want to get to a house within 6 minutes, and it's hard to do that with the growth that we're having. So having a fire station strategically placed there will lower those times to allow us to get to homes quicker.
It also lowers insurance, doesn't it? Like rating of insurance, isn't that a scale that you guys measure? So as a fire marshal, what are the responsibilities of your job?
My responsibility is fire prevention. I do all fire prevention operations within the town, and that includes primarily 4 duties. I do all fire education for the community. I do all fire inspections for the town of Fort Mill, all the businesses and multifamily residential occupancies. We do plan reviews, so any new projects that come in, we review them, make sure they comply to a standard, and then we also do fire investigations for fires that happen within the town.
Wow, that's a lot.
It is a lot.
You go to school for this? How does one become a fire marshal?
You don't have to go to school, but I did. I got my degree in fire safety engineering at UNCC.
Wow.
And I loved it and took all the classes that I could take about it.
Oh man, and when you talk about fire prevention, so much better to be knowledgeable about how to prevent a fire than from, I'm sure you've seen incredible sights of how powerful the aftermath, what fire can do, the deadly destruction of a fire.
Absolutely, and the effects that it has on residents within a home, the people around the home. My goal is to have none. So my goal is to educate the community as much as I can so they know the hazards that they need to look out for, and then we can prevent them as many as we can.
Now, I know that a lot of what you do is raising awareness, educating. Sometimes, is it easier to educate the kids than it is to get the parents to change behavior?
I like using the kids to remind the parents as much as they can. A lot of times I'll be walking down the street, parents will come up to me, "Oh, my child saw you in school and they told us this, and so we did it." Checking your smoke alarms is a big one. "Oh, we never thought about it. We did it. Thank you." Or
little Junior wouldn't be quiet until we did it.
And I tell them, keep on reminding your parents, because our children are going to continue until it's done. Mm-hmm. That has been successful for me.
Good.
Doing evacuation plans in the home, it's very important, something that we've been pushing for since I've been here, the last 2 periods in Fire Prevention Month. And a lot of people have come up and said, we never thought about it. Yeah. And now that they're actually doing it, I know that they're being safer. Yeah. So the message is reaching the children and ultimately reaching the parents. But my goal is to reach everybody.
And you also are finishing up with Fire Prevention Awareness Week, where you really opened the fire station to the community. How did that go?
It went fantastic. Last year we had probably 800 people come. This year we were over 1,400. So
wow.
We know that people want to come, and it's really great. It gives us an opportunity to open up the firehouse and people to come and see exactly what firefighters do in a situation where it's not an emergency, and they can know what's going on.
So how much education, how do you reach the kids to teach them about fire prevention?
We don't want them to be afraid. That's our biggest thing. We went to 6 elementary schools this year. We taught 36 classes, and we reached over 1,400 students and over 300 teachers. A big thing is about, I don't want them to be afraid. If there's an emergency, a firefighter is someone to run towards, not away from.
Yes.
So I introduce them to a regular fireman in regular clothes. We go through our presentation, and at the end I have him dress out in the actual fire gear. They can see, they can hear, because it's different. It sounds weird, it looks weird. After everything's done, I have them get on the ground, and then zombie style, I have them pretty much come and touch everything on them. So they are coming towards him, seeing that there's nothing scary about him.
That's so important. What is the most popular question that the little ones ask? Because sometimes as parents, we assume that they know the things that we know until they have the opportunity to really ask with their own voices. And sometimes it can be very obvious, or it can be almost like, of course you wouldn't know that.
One, they always ask, will you come and save my pets?
Oh.
They're always worried about their pets, and we always tell them, you want to get out of the house. Get out of the house, don't grab anything. And yes, we are coming to get your pets also.
And that's so important, because that lets you know right there that they would go back in to try to save their pet at the risk of potentially hurting themselves or costing them their own life.
We want them to get out and stay out.
Yeah.
And not have to worry about their pets. That is a worry of ours, and we are going in there to save their pets.
Now, when I was little, we always did a field trip to the fire department. Is that still an option? Is that something that you do?
Absolutely. People do it all the time. We had a Girl Scout troop this morning.
Okay, so that's always open to the community, whether you're going into the schools or inviting organizations to come in. Your job really is about communicating to the community the information that you have on preventing fires.
It's educating the community. That's my number one job duty.
Yeah.
Either with the 4 job functions that I have, it's all about educating. If I can educate you about something small, you're going to remember it, and hopefully you can change somebody else. And since I've been doing this for the last 10 years, that I've seen it. People come up to me, I remember you last year, you told me this.
Yeah.
I don't do it anymore. I see how that's a hazard. I see how a fire could start like that. That's changing the minds, and that really is, it's making an impact.
Well, you don't know what you don't know.
Exactly. Yeah.
So as a family, we need to have an evacuation plan. We need to make sure that we have our batteries and our smoke detectors in good working order. Anything else, a good tidbit that we should?
Well, you have an evacuation plan, you need to practice that evacuation plan.
Because practice makes better.
That's right. If you have one and you don't do it, you don't know what to do.
Yeah, what if I don't even know how to make an evacuation plan? Is there a place that I can go?
Oh, you can contact me at the fire marshal's office, the fire department here, and we will help you do that. But it's important to practice it and have a meeting place outside that everybody in the family knows where they're going. Because when this truck comes, the first question they're going to ask is everybody out. And if the answer to that question, either way, it changes how they go about putting the fire out. If it's a rescue operation or it's just a suppression operation. That's an important thing for everyone to know exactly where they're going and make sure the children know where they're going, even without their parents' help.
Gotcha. And what is the most common mistake that people make that create fires? I mean, it happens. We see it in the news almost every day.
The number one is cooking fires.
Cooking fires.
If you're cooking, try and stay in the kitchen.
Try not to multitask too much.
Right, and everyone multitasks, everyone uses their phone, but if you're cooking, try to be mindful about what you're doing. That's probably 75% of all fires that happen in this country is from cooking fires.
Wow.
Let's lower that.
Okay.
Let's stay in the kitchen. And with that, smoke detectors. 1977, there were 3,000 deaths in this country for fire deaths. Now it's around 1,300. That number has gone down because of one thing, that's smoke detectors. But we're still too high.
Yeah.
If one is too high. Without a working smoke detector, your likelihood of dying in a house fire is 80%.
Wow.
With a working smoke detector, you're down to 20%. you have to check those batteries. You have to replace them if they're over 10 years old. That's the most important thing that you can do in your house.
Gotcha. Wow. And you know what? You don't get second chances.
No, you
so
don't.
Prepare, prevent, and if you have any questions, Jesse Soares, our fire marshal right here in the town of Fort Mill, is the man to talk to. Thank you so much for sharing all the knowledge and continuing to share with not only us, but with our kids as well, because you know, they'll get it done. Mommy.
That's the goal.
Alrighty, well that's it for this edition of Fort Mill Business Today, sponsored by the Fort Mill Economic Council. I'm Patty Mercer. Until next time, bye-bye.